All right, so this is module 3, lesson 10. I am going to watch the video and write the notes, and then I will go through the lesson.
This is 5th grade, module 3, lesson 10. We're going to be adding fractions, only this time the answer is going to be larger than 2. And this lesson, we're really going to be practicing that standard algorithm for adding fractions. All right, for in this problem, we have 3 2/3 plus 1 3/5. And we're going to begin with a little bit of estimation because it's kind of good to do that. And we know that 3 2/3 is a little bit bigger than 3. Practicing that standard algorithm for adding fractions. All right, for in this problem, we have 3 2/3 plus 1 3/5. And we're going to begin with a little bit of estimation because it's kind of good to do that. And we know that 3 2/3 is a little bit bigger than 3 1/2. And we know that 1 3/5 is a little bit bigger than 1 1/2. And so 3 1/2 plus 1 1/2, that's going to equal 5. So we know that this answer has to be bigger than 5 because 3 2/3 is larger than 3 1/2. 1 3/5 is larger than 1 1/2. And when you add them together, you get 5. So we know our answer has to be bigger than 5. So now we're going to rewrite the problem down here. 3 2/3, and I'm going to leave a little bit of gap there. And then 1 3/5, and I'm going to leave a little bit of a gap. All right. And so first thing we need to do is find that common denominator for 3 and 5. So our denominators are different. And so one way to do it is to do your little skip counting. 3, 6, 9, 12, 15. And automatically we can stop because we know our skip counting at 5, 5, 10, 15. So there's our common denominator. So our common denominator is going to be 15. So we need to rewrite 2/3 as a fraction with 15 as the denominator. And we need to write 3/5 as a fraction with 15 as the denominator. So each third is going to be multiplied by 5. So 2 times 5 is 10. In the same way, each fifth is going to be multiplied by 3. That's how we get 15. And so 3 times 3 gives us 9. So remember, teachers and parents, remind the students, hey, what's bigger, 2/3 or 10/15? And the idea is we want the students to say, oh, they're equivalent, because really we just multiplied 2/3 by 1 whole, 5 over 5. And then so now we're ready to add. And so we can add the whole numbers. 3 plus 1 gives us 4. Adding the fractions gives us 19/15. And then, so you've got 4 plus. Now I'm going to take that 19/15 and I'm going to expand that to 15/15 plus 4/15. And so you can see there's our 19/15. And we know that 15/15 is equal to 1 whole. So we end up with 5 and 4/15 as our answer. All right, let's do one more practice, straight up numbers. Now, let's do a little bit of estimation. So we know that 15 and 1/5, a couple ways to think of that. We can think of 15 and 1/5 as less than 15 and a half. And we can see that 4 3/8 is less than 4 1/2. So when we add those, we end up with 20. So we know our answer has to be less than 20. All right, so we know our answer has to be less than 20. So now let's do the problem. So we're going to get 15 and 1/5, and I'm going to leave a little bit of a gap, plus 4 3/8, and I'm going to leave a little bit of a gap. So our common denominator is going to be 40. And if you need to pause the video and talk about why we know that the common denominator...
Well, we know that the common denominator is 40 because we're going to do some skip counting. And I think that's important that we show that. And we have 5, 10, Those are my 5 multiples, and I can skip by 8. And I get 40, so my common denominator is 40. So 5 times 8 equals 40, and 1 times 8 equals 8. So it's 8 over 40 over here. 8 times 5, and 3 times 5. So it's 15 over 40 over here. So our new equation becomes 15 and 8/40 plus 4 and 15/40. So that becomes, and we'll think about how we're going to add this together. Don't forget to add your whole number. Some of you guys did that yesterday in the formative. 15 plus 4 becomes 19. And 8/40 plus 15/40 becomes 23/40. So our answer is 19 and 23. And I get 40. So my common denominator is 40. So 5 times 8 equals 4. Plus 15/40 becomes 23/40. So our answer is 19 and 23/40 for this one. Let's see if Dwayne gets the same answer.
40, please do so. So for the fifths, in order to turn fifths into 40ths, we need to cut them into 8 pieces. So that means 1 times 8 is 8. In the same way, in order to turn eighths into 40ths, each eighth needs to be cut into 5 pieces. So 3 times 5 gives us 15. And so now we're ready to add. We can add the whole numbers, and we get 19. And now we can add the fractions. 8/40 plus 15/40 is equal to 23/40. And that is our answer. And sure enough, it's less than 20. And the last problem for this video, we have a word problem. String A is 3 5/6 meters long, and string B is 2 1/4. It doesn't say, it says it should be meters, 2 1/4. Last problem for this video, we have a word problem. String A is 3 5/6 meters long, and string B is 2 1/4. It doesn't say, it says it should be meters, 2 1/4 meters long. What is the total length of both strings? So if we wanted to, we could put this into a single tape diagram. So we have 3 5/6. We have 2 1/4. And we want to find the total. So sure enough, that means addition. So we're going to write that here. We're going to do 3 5/6. I'm going to leave a little bit of a gap. 2 1/4. And I'm going to leave a little bit of a gap. So our common denominator.
Draw the tape diagram that he drew. So he has 3 5/6, 2 1/4. And he wants to know how big this is. Total. Okay.
Let's do our skip counting. 6, 12, 18, 24, da da da. And then our 4s. 4, 8, 12, 16, and there is our common denominator. It's 12. So we need to change the sixths into 12ths, and we need to turn the fourths into 12ths. In order to turn sixths into 12ths, they need to be multiplied by 2. So 5 times 2 is 10. In order to turn our fourths
So our
into
new
12ths,
equation
they
is
need to be multiplied by 3. So 1 times 3 is 3. So now we can add our whole numbers. And when we add our whole numbers, 3 plus 2 gives us 5. And when we add our fractions, we get 13/12. Now, that's going to change. We can simplify that. 13/12 can be thought of as 12/12 plus 1/12. So this is equal to 1 whole. So really, our answer becomes 6 and 1/12. And that is our answer. 6 and 1/12 meters long. And so that is 5th grade Module 3, Lesson 10, adding fractions to get stuff that's greater than 2, but more importantly, we're using that standard algorithm.
Writing's not that easy.
Sorry, guys. That's the end of the video notes. All right. Okay, guys, so these are the class notes. I just want you guys to notice that I just took the video notes, and it took me 12 minutes and 19 seconds to take the video notes and to write them down on this, with my Apple Pencil on this recording. So these are what we're going to call the class notes. You want to make sure you add these to the video notes that should already be in your math notebook, because you would have done them for homework last night. Class notes, and let's write the first one as 1 1/3 plus, no, I don't want that one. Let's do this one. 2 1/5 plus 1 1/2. 2 1/5 plus 1 1/2. Okay. And just like Dwayne does in the video, I like to write them out kind of spaced out. So we're going to have 2 1/5 and then leave some space plus 1 1/2. Okay, so we're looking for a common denominator for 5 and 2. And we're going to do that by skip counting over here. 5, 10, 15. I think we can already see that it's going to be 10. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. So 10 is our common denominator. So 5 times 2, 1 times 2, 2 times 5, 1 times 5. And our new fraction becomes 2/10 over here and 5/10 over here. So let's rewrite our problem. 2 2/10 plus 1 5/10 equals, well, let's add the 1 and the 2 together. 1 and 2 make 3, and 2/10 and 5/10 make 7/10. And the answer for that first one is 3 7/10. Hopefully you all got that, and you are writing this in your math notebook. Same thing as yesterday with these equations. It's just they now have a whole number with the fraction. So let's try another one. Let's try, I have to sneeze, hang on. Let's try 2 4/5 plus 1 1/2. 2 4/5. And then let's leave some space. 1 1/2. Okay. I am going to give you guys, I want you to, you know what? I'm just going to wait here for, let's wait for about 1 minute while you guys find the least common denominator here. What's the denominator going to be? You have 5 and 2. Okay, you should have skip counted to find your denominator. 5, 10, 15. Well, we know again it's going to be 10. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. 10 is going to be our least common denominator. And then we are going to multiply our numbers over here so that it makes a new fraction. 5 times 2 equals 10. 4 times 2 equals 8. So our new fraction becomes 8/10. 2 times 5 equals 10. 1 times 5 equals 5. And 5/10. So our new problem becomes 2 8/10 plus 1 5/10. And I would add these together. 2 plus 1 is 3. 8/10 plus 5/10 is 13/10. And we know that that's an improper fraction. So it will become 4 3/10. Okay, guys, let's write out 1 and write some steps to go along with it. This one should be good. 2 4/5 plus 1 1/2. All right. So step 1, let me write my steps over here. 1. Write problem leaving space between each number. All right, so let's do that. 2 4/5, leave some space, 1 1/2. Okay. Step number 2, skip count to find common denominator. All right, so in this case, we're going to have 5 and 2. So 5, 10. Well, I know 10's an even number, and I know if I multiply 2, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. 10 is my common denominator. So step 2 is a skip count to find my least common denominator. Step 3, multiply by a number to find your new numerator and new denominator. I hope that makes sense. So we're looking for this one to be 10. So we're going to multiply 5 by 2. I'm going to multiply 4 by 2 to make our new fraction of 4 times 2 is 8 tenths. And this one we're going to multiply by 5. I'm going to multiply this by 5 to make our new fraction of 5 tenths. Okay, so that covers step 2. Step 3. Step 4 is to write your new equation. Write the new equation. So it will be 2 8/10 plus 1 5/10. And that equals, we add them together, it's the next step, 3 13/10. So step 5, whoops. Step number 5 is to add new numbers. And step 6 would be to simplify or make it a whole number and a fraction, if you need to. And we have to do that here because 13/10 is greater than 1, so it becomes 4 3/10. There you go. Let me highlight these steps here. So the first thing we did was we wrote down the step, leaving space between the numbers. Then we did some skip counting to find our least common denominator. Then we multiplied by the number we needed to make that least common denominator. We wrote our new equation. By the number we needed to make that least common denominator. We wrote our new equation. We added our new numbers together, and then we simplified, making our final answer 4 3/10. All right, I'm going to do one more, and then I'm going to give you guys some problems at once. 3 1/2 plus 4 7/8. This is an interesting one. So if I follow my steps, I'm going to write the problem leaving space between. 3 1/2, 4 7/8. My first step. Step 2, skip count to find the common denominator. So I'm going to skip count by 2 to 4, 6, 8. Oh, look. I find 8. I can use 8 as my least common denominator, and that's great because when I use eighths, I don't even have to change this one. I only have to change this one to eighths. So 2 times 4, 1 times 4 equals 3 4/8 plus 4 7/8. So my new example becomes 3 4/8 plus 4 7/8. Okay, so then what am I going to do? I'm going to add them together. 3 plus 4 is 7. 4/8 and 7/8 is 11/8. And I can simplify that to 8 3/8. And that's my final answer. Well, that was a cool one because we only had to really change one of the fractions because 2 can be skip counted to get to 8. All right. So let's open up to the problem set. Okay, guys, you're going to use your Learn book. Your Learn book, and it's on page 73. And let's start with 1A, C, E. And then problem 2. I'm going to say give yourself 20 minutes to work on that. And then shut the video off, work on the set problems I just gave you. You should circle them in your book and rip out the page. And I'll give you 20 minutes to work on it. And then you guys can come back. And I will have the answers available here for the problem set. So 20 minutes and then come back. So stop the video now. Thanks. Okay. So now that you did the problem set and you've worked for 20 minutes, I have your answers here. I put the answers in a square. You can see the work. Your work should be very similar. Make sure that you have a tape diagram here. Because it is read, draw, write. So we probably should make a statement here. Erin ran 8 3/12. Is it miles? Yeah. Period. That should be good. Okay, after you finish that, you are going to go check those, make sure they are the way that you are. You are going to go to page 77 in your Learn book. Tear it out. Is the exit ticket. And you are going to do the work on the sheet. Do the work on the sheet. Go to Math Google Classroom. And upload pictures of your exit ticket responses. After you're done doing that, you need to put the problem set and the exit ticket in your folder so I can collect it. Okay, guys. Good job today. I will take a look at your exit ticket responses and go formative, and I will see you guys tomorrow, hopefully. Bye.